Hello everyone, this is Jason from Prime Time Aquatics, and in this video we have a filter review for you. It is the Seachem Tidal 75. We're going to unbox it, give you our initial impressions. Hope you enjoy the video. Appreciate you being here. So this is the Seachem Tidal 75. We're going to be talking about this today. We are not new to the Seachem Tidal line. We've done reviews on the 35, the 55, and the 110. I'll put those in the description below if you want more information. But the Seachem Tidal 75 is one that we have not yet added to our collection, so we're going to unbox it. I'm going to give you my initial impressions today. Now, this filter has a couple things I really like, and I've talked about this before. There are certain things that I absolutely require at this point for a hang-on back filter to have, certain features it must have in order for me to even consider it. The Seachem Tidal checks off both of those boxes, so we're going to go ahead and take this thing out of the box and see what we have. So here we have the directions. You're here, so hopefully we won't need that. The filter itself is it's packaged pretty straightforward. It's just the filter in a box. So this is the 75. Now, a couple things. It's not a huge filter, which is good, especially when we're talking about the width here, because I talk about this all the time, but when you're switching hang-on back filters, it's really important to note how much space do you have between your wall and the back of your tank. The nice thing is this is about as slim as they come. Right now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting the filter on a 75-gallon, our 75-gallon Mbuna tank. We had a very old Marineland 350 that just finally went after about 12 years, and it's basically not pushing water through anymore. And it was nice to know that this thing was going to fit right in its place because it has such a slim profile, a very important thing to consider. Plus, who really wants their tanks far away from the wall anyway? Okay, so here we've got a couple things I want to point out right away. One, this is a nice hard plastic. It is high quality. So it's not the cheap plastic. It's not going to be breaking and cracking on you anytime soon. So with the Seachem Tidal line, you would expect high quality, and that's what you're getting here. You lift off the lid. You'll see this little blue thing here. This is an indicator that will tell you when you need to change your filter media. It kind of pops up just like that. So we'll put that aside real quick. Inside, you're going to see a couple things here. One, we have a dial here at the top. What this dial does, what this knob does here, is it controls the amount of flow through the filter. So this is one of the features I absolutely must have on my hang-on back filters. I want to be able to control the flow. There are a number of filters that will allow you to do that. If you're looking at this filter, there's probably a couple others that you would want to consider as well. Now, this filter on Amazon right now is around $63 or so. I will put an Amazon affiliate link down in the description below if you're interested in purchasing this filter. But so it's around $63. It's going to pump through about 350 gallons per hour. So more than sufficient for a 75-gallon, but it is adjustable, which is huge. The other dial that you see down here, this is going to allow you to control how much water goes through the intake compared to how much goes through the surface skimmer that you can see right here. So this filter, unlike most filters on the market, does have a surface skimmer. As I've stated in videos previous to this with the Seachem Tidal line, I would almost prefer that this was gone. I'm not a big fan of the surface skimmer. I would just prefer to have all of the water coming through the intake. I don't think it's necessary on a freshwater aquarium to have the surface skimmer, but if you like that sort of thing, it's certainly not hurting anything, but I don't necessarily need it to be there. We've got some things that we're going to have to, some parts here in a second that we'll talk about. There is some biomedia that comes with this filter. I really like it. There's a lot of it. I tend not to use it for our purposes. I tend to use hang-on back filters mostly for mechanical filtration, the ability to pull stuff out of the water. And so I don't generally use the biomedia, but it's pretty cool. It already comes in a biomedia bag. This will house your beneficial bacteria. You can just rinse that off periodically to keep it looking okay. Next thing, the compartment itself. It is a decent sized compartment for a filter that's going to be filtering 75-gallon tanks. Right here, you're going to see this little blue thing here, switch, knob. You press this down, and that's going to allow you to release the filter media basket. I think this is actually a really nice feature, and it's a feature that some filters really, quite frankly, are missing. What can happen with some other filters, I know we've got some aqua clears in the fish room, is sometimes the media basket will start to rise when the filter media is a little bit clogged. This one will keep the basket down. So you can just pull this thing right out. Again, really convenient to be able to do this. I like this method probably the best out of any filter that we would talk about today. Certainly for a 75 gallon, I love the Seachems because you can pull out the entire media basket. You can't necessarily do that with other types of filters. Again, I compare this to the AquaClear 70 because that's something that a lot of people would consider as well. The AquaClear 70 is about $10 cheaper, but it's going to push through less gallons per hour, where this again was a 350. The AquaClear is right around 300. Yes, you can remove the media, but it's not an all enclosed basket, so this is a little bit easier to deal with. The other filter that you'd probably want to consider is the Marineland Pro 375. Again, that's about $10 cheaper, pushes through 375 gallons per hour, and we'll talk about the features and how those all line up in a second. So, media basket, you can see down here we have a sponge that comes with it. The sponge isn't quite as thick as maybe what you'd get with an AquaClear, but it is more than sufficient. What I tend to do, and I'll show you this in a moment, is just pack this thing full of filter floss, and that's how I roll with it. That's the only media I have in these things, is the sponge that comes with it and filter floss. But again, if you wanted to use the biomedia, this stuff here, the way that you would pack the filter is you would leave that sponge in there, and you would put your filter floss, you would take this out and rinse it, and then this would lay on top because you want your biomedia to be the last thing the water touches before it goes back into the tank, just so that all the other media catches all the nasty stuff, the detritus, the fish waste, before it gets to your biomedia. So that's what we have going on here. Now, what do I really like about the Seachem filters that I think are vital if you're going to be considering a hang on back? The biggest feature of this filter is the fact that the motor that has the impeller is right here, and it's going to be resting inside the tank. For those of you new to hang on back filters, that might not seem like a big deal, but it is a game changer. This feature is a must-have for us in our fish room. I will not buy a filter long-term, other than a review, that doesn't have this motor in the inside of the tank. And there's a couple reasons why. One, as you're going to see in a few moments, this filter is self-priming. What that means, the power goes out, you're maintaining the filter, you put this in, the back can remain 100% dry. Because the motor is in the water, it's going to create suction. It's going to suck all the water back into the compartment and back out into the tank. If the motor is not inside the filter and it's stuck on the outside, sometimes filters that have those external motors have a hard time priming, especially when the power goes out. So that is a big feature. The other reason why I really like the fact that these motors are internal, they're going to be in the water, in the tank, is the fact that they are extraordinarily quiet. These filters and the Marineland Pros are some of the more quiet filters, hang-on back filters I have ever seen, because the motor's inside the tank, you don't hear it at all. In fact, I often say with our Seachems and our Marinelands, the only way I know they're on is if I look in the tank and see that the water is moving. So that's pretty cool. So if you are in an area where you need to have your filters quiet, I highly recommend take a look at these Seachem Tidal 75s or the Seachem Tidal line in general. They are a very quiet filter. All right, so I wanted to show you real quick just how to assemble this thing. It's going to take 2 seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and put this on the tank. So you've got a little piece right here, a little section cut out right there, and that's where our hang-on back filter leveler is going to go. So we've got this piece so that the hang-on back filter is not tilted like this or like this, and you wind up having issues. So the first thing we have to do is we get this little blue piece right here. That is going to slide in just like so. And so now we've got this piece, and then this piece can screw in here. And we can go ahead and just screw that in, you can see here. And we can adjust this. Again, you might not need it depending on how thick your tank is and how this is going to rest, how the rim of the tank is going to rest over here. You might not need this thing, but we're going to go ahead and just showing you how to screw this in. So that's how that works there. And then you can adjust it so that, again, the filter is level this way. The second thing we have the intake tubes. So we have 2 parts to that. We've got this part, and again, this is hard to do. I'm holding 3 things with 2 hands. So we've got these pieces here. They just go in like this. You'll notice, if you listen, we've got some adjustability here. So we've got this area here. So this is adjustable. Because it's a 75-gallon tank, I'm going to go ahead and extend it all the way down. And then this piece is just going to fit right on here like so. So once we get this in the tank, it's going to be pretty far down because remember, all of this is in the tank, and the intake will hang even further back. What I will do before I put it in, again, is I am going to make sure that everything is coming through the bottom intake and limit the amount that's coming through the actual surface skimmer here. So I'm going to open this dial all the way up. And so if you want to see what that looks like, let's go ahead and see if I can do this. So here you can see here, all right? So if we turn it all the way to my left, it opens all the way to the right, it closes quite a bit. So I will keep it all the way to the left, right? So left, and then we can keep this thing all the way open. All right, so before we put this on the tank, I am going to put filter floss in here. I buy bulk filter floss. I've done videos on this. I'll put an Amazon affiliate link down in the description below for bulk filter floss. This is a way to save a ton of money. The filter itself doesn't even come with any special cartridges, which is pretty cool. So I just went ahead and cut a piece, kind of fold it in half like this, and I'm going to place it in the filter just like so. And so that's going to be my filtration. Again, it's mostly for mechanical. Now, if I was putting in the biomedia, I would rinse this. There's a filter. You have to take the plastic off, rinse it. There's a filter bag in here. This would just set right on top. There are those who are a little bit concerned because they say that when the media is placed in here, sometimes the water on the Seachem Tidal lines will go through the bypass and not as much through the actual media. The easiest way to solve that, and we've done that with every single Seachem Tidal filter we've done, that we've used, is instead of placing the filter media down and packing it in, I place it vertically, like so, still catches all the nasty stuff, and it works out great, and we don't have the bypass issues that some on the internet claim to have because we just pack it in like this. All right, let's go ahead and take a look and see what it looks like on the tank. So here you can see it is going to self-prime. There was no water in the back. Those brown sponges you see as cycled filter media from the broken marine land that I had, the old Penguin 350. So yeah, it's cycled, or it primes, it's self-priming. You can see that is basically the water coming out full blast. Here, let me go ahead and adjust the dial so I can turn this way down. So you can see it's just coming out at maybe 10% of the pace. Turn it back up. And there you can see. So yes, there's some stuff floating around in here because the other hang-on back filter was broken, so it wasn't doing its job. So this thing has created a lot of water flow. As you can see here, it's moving. For a 75-gallon tank, it's got more than enough flow. It is extremely quiet. The only thing you're hearing in our fish room right now is probably the air pump and the sponge filters. So I would say in a couple hours, if I come back here, all this stuff is going to be gone. In fact, let's do that. Let's come back in a couple hours and we'll see the before and after. This thing right now, there's a lot of stuff floating around in the tank. Let's see what it looks like in a little while. All right, so this is about 3 hours later. This tank is looking a whole lot better. It's cleared up quite a bit. Again, the hang-on back filter was down for a few days, so this tank is going to need some cleaning given the fact that it's so heavily stocked. Glass is a little bit foggy, but this filter did a great job of getting all the detritus and stuff out of the water. Very happy with it. Again, it's got a lot of flow, which is great, and I think it's going to do a good job on the tank. So first impressions, like the other Seachem filters, I like this one a lot. High quality, very, very quiet. You saw the self-priming feature, which was pretty cool. I'm not crazy about that blue dial that you see underneath the motor. I wish that was black and it just blended in a little bit better. I don't like to see my fish tank equipment if I don't have to, so that's one thing I would change, but it's a really minor thing. We will do a long-term update in about 12 months or so. I like to give the filters a long time, really get to experience them before I do a long-term update. But if you are interested in a filter that is going to give you, a really good, solid filtration for your tank, anywhere from 55 up to 90 gallons, this is definitely one to consider. Again, the Amazon affiliate link is down in the description below. If you want more information on the marine land or the AquaClear, I'll put that in the upper right hand and lower right hand corner. Check out the description for more filtration information as well. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in the next one.